Hey guys, John V here from PhoneArena. Right now you're watching our video review of the LG Optimus F7. Now here in the US, it's being sold through US Cellular for a 2-year contract price of $100, and it's regarded as a mid-range handset. It features a dual-core processor, a 4.7-inch IPS LCD display, 720p resolution, and you also get 4G LTE connectivity. So we're going to find out how it performs, whether or not it could actually even contend with some of the bigger or higher-end devices out there in the market. For starters, this should look somewhat familiar to some people out there just because the F7 has a very similar appearance to LG's former flagship device in the Optimus 4X HD. Now, the F7 as a whole has a very pleasant design, has a good balance between construction and build quality, and that's despite the fact that it is an all-plastic device. Definitely like how it emulates a metallic finish, but it is indeed glossy and plastic, so it tends to show a little bit more fingerprints and smudges as you use it. We also like the trim bezel, the chrome trim bezel around the sides, gives it a nice look, complements things. And as far as the in the hand feel, it's very pleasant. Might be on the larger side, but hey, it's comfortable and well balanced in weight. Don't let its mid-range status fool you for a moment just because it has a stunning display. It's a 4.7-inch 720p IPS LCD panel, so it's 720 by 1280 pixels, which produces a pixel density of 312 pixels per inch, which is pretty fantastic for any mid-range device. And obviously you can make out a lot of fine details in the web browser in a zoomed out view, so no issues with that. And considering that it is an IPS LCD panel, you get some very natural looking colors. They're not overly saturated, very neutral and realistic too. Brightness output's good and its visibility outdoors is great, so it's still a sharp looking display for a mid-range handset. Just like everything else, it features a front-facing 1.3 megapixel camera which has the ability to shoot HD video, and of course you'll also have the earpiece on top. Taking a look around the sides of the handset, on the right edge we have the dedicated power button. It's a little bit on the flat side, but the response is decent. As for the left edge, we have the volume control and also a dedicated button which launches the quick memo application. Well, the bottom's home to none other than the micro USB port for charging and data connectivity and a standard microphone. In the rear, the Optimus F7 is sporting a pretty sizable camera. It's an 8 megapixel one with an LED flash, and of course it has the ability to shoot 1080p videos. Removing the rear casing is a fairly simple process. All you gotta do is just yank it from the bottom edge here, and once you do that, you gain access to its 2450 milliamp hour battery. You have a micro SIM slot and also micro SD card slot, which complements its existing 4 gigabytes of internal storage, and you can tell too it features NFC. Well, there's nothing terribly new with the experience here on the Optimus F7, similar to any other recent LG device we've been checking out, like the Optimus G and the G Pro. It's running Android 4.1.2 Jelly Bean, and it's not the most up-to-date version of the platform, but regardless of that, it's just nice that you're treated to a lot of personalization with it, from the widgets to even things like changing the color of the home button when it lights up. And there's a host of other things that LG has done. For example, they've included some neat features like the smart screen, similar to what you find on Samsung's devices, where it'll keep the display on as long as you're looking at it. And the other thing, there are some gestures too that are in play. So for example, if you want to move something in the home screen, you could either tell the device left or right, and it automatically will move. But besides that, as we said, nothing really new with the experience. Being a mid-range handset, the Optimus F7 is powered by a dual-core 1.5 GHz processor with 2 GB of RAM, so that's quite beefy for a mid-range handset. And honestly, it shows in its real-world performance. You can tell even with live wallpaper, the handset just flows smoothly. And in other basic tasks, even complex ones, whether you're playing games, browsing the web, or simply just opening up applications, stuff like that, it's easily done and handled by the handset, and there's barely any lag or slowdown at all with this. Having an ample amount of real estate definitely helps with the Optimus F7 when it comes to typing up messages. The keyboard layout is very spacious, and on top of that, thanks to its dual-core processor, it's very responsive too, so the only thing is just getting adjusted to it, but that's quickly done, and you find yourself just typing away casually very quickly. Seeing that this is featuring 4G LTE connectivity, you can expect fast data speeds with this one, so no issues when it comes to uploads and downloads. Beyond that, the performance is exceptional too, just because its page rendering is pretty much instantaneous, barely any issues with that. And on top of that, you have some smooth navigational controls and kinetic scrolling, so this can easily tangle with some of the high-end stuff out there. Doesn't really surprise us that the handset can run high-definition videos with no problems and has also a wide support of different video codecs. The one we have here is encoded in MPEG-4 1920 by 1080, so 1080p, and you can tell moving very quickly, and with its sharp-looking display, it just adds to the great experience. The other cool thing that LG has provided is the Q-Slide functionality, which allows us to actually multitask. So basically, it layers the video on top of whatever you're doing, so you can be browsing the web, doing some work, and you could also watch video at the same time. Well, it's pretty neat that the handset is packing along an 8 megapixel camera, which is a little bit higher than some other mid-range devices out there, but it's quality, nothing really out of the ballpark. It's more in the average category. It takes some pleasant outdoor shots where there's plenty of lighting, but indoors under lower lighting or artificial lighting, it seems to bump up the ISO, which does a great job in brightening up the shots, but at the same time, the downside is that it actually makes the details very faint and very soft, so it looks more like a mosaic painting than anything else. But luckily, the LED flash is still potent enough to even work up to as much as 7 feet away. At the same time, its 1080p high-definition video recording quality falls into the same category as being nothing more than average. The biggest thing is just the details. Seems to be a little bit lacking. It records smoothly, so no issues with that, and it also focuses in really quickly, so it has continuous autofocus. The exposure is a little bit on the jumpy side, and you might see a little bit of artifacting every now and then, but it's not really that distracting. Generally speaking, you're not going to have any issues calling your friends and pals with the handset. With the earpiece itself, it's strong, loud, and powerful, and voices are clear, though it has a little bit of a crackle to it. On the other line, no issues whatsoever. A caller has mentioned that they have an easy time making out voice, even in a windy car, just because its noise cancellation feature kicks in quickly. And finally, when it comes to the speakerphone, its output is also very glaring and loud, and tends to sound a little bit strained though. Gotta say, out of everything else, we're just most disappointed by the handset's battery life, and that's despite the fact that it's packing along a pretty sizable 2540 milliamp hour battery. Now, it's worth mentioning that it's made for US cellular, but right now in our usage, it's been roaming, and we do have also EVDO 3G connectivity to it. So our usage mainly consists of web browsing, sending text messages, checking email, and occasional phone call, and at the most, we got 20 hours out of it. Honestly, the LG Optimus F7 is priced to sell. US Cellular is currently offering it for $99 for a 2-year contract, $100, and honestly, with that price point, it's a pretty good buy. You're getting a lot of cool things with it. Even though it's considered a mid-range, it has some very high-end qualities to it, from its performance, its style, its design, and even just the spec sheet. It's pretty manageable in many ways, and it's a really good contender. If you don't want to shell out a lot of money for a high-end device, but you still want to kind of get a great performing device, you might really want to take a look at the LG Optimus F7. So if you'd like to learn more about this, guys, you could check out our website, PhoneArena.com. It's John V. Thanks for watching.